We invite you to watch how we clear the views on all matters through our partner station MITV on DSTV channel 255, 7 p.m. daily, and also our YouTube and Facebook pages under one name, Clearview News Desk every day. We call it The People's News, as we are available to come over and cover your events upon notice. Or do you have news you want us to broadcast? Send it in. We verify and go to town with it. All for you. Go ahead, engage us to thrash out those naughty issues on the news. And what we need from you is to share and subscribe. More important, convince your loved ones, friends, relatives, co-worshippers, and more to subscribe so as to be getting notifications as we break the news. Go a step further, like the news, and drop your thoughts on the comment section. Clearview News. We clear the view one time and for all time.
Hello and welcome to Clearview News Desk. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. First, the headlines. NAFDAC raids shut down Abuja restaurant over poor hygienic conditions. Activist Aisha Yusuf calls on National Assembly panel on Bobrisky and Very Dark Man an absolute disgrace. Super Eagles of Nigeria moves up by 3 spots to 36th place in the October World FIFA ranking. I am Florence Joshua with these and more. Nigerian rapper and activist Folarin Falana, popularly known as Falz, has responded to recent allegations made by social media influencer Martin Zotche, known as Very Dark Man, insisting that the claims against him are baseless and defamatory. Speaking on the matter on a podcast published on Wednesday via YouTube, Falz revealed that before the controversy, he knew little about Very Dark Man activism. Recall that the controversy began when Very Dark Man made serious allegations that Falz and his father, Femi Falana, had colluded with certain individuals to manipulate justice. According to Falz, Very Dark Man accused him of having a homosexual relationship with popular cross-dresser Bobrisky, questioning the rapper's credibility as an activist. Addressing the allegations, Falz expressed shock, describing it as a horrible thing to say. Meanwhile, activist Aisha Yusuf has slammed members of the National Assembly for constituting a panel to investigate the bribery allegations leveled against cross-dresser Bobrisky. Recall that in September, social critic Very Dark Man released an audio conversation which he claimed was between Bobrisky and a man, where it was alleged that the cross-dresser paid Efcc 15 million naira to have his money laundering charges dropped, and also that Bobrisky's godfather called the controller of prisons and asked that he be placed in a private apartment where he served his 6-month jail term. Following the allegations, the House of Representatives constituted a panel of inquiry into the matter. Meanwhile, in a video she posted online earlier this week, Yusuf wondered why the lawmakers were investigating the matter when they had more serious issues to attend to. According to her, Nigeria is sinking and dying before the very eyes of everyone. Both the lawmakers are more concerned about handling the Bobrisky vs. VDM matter, describing the panel as an absolute disgrace. The Defense Headquarters says its troops are making significant progress in ongoing operations across the country. At a press conference this Thursday in Abuja, Director of Defense Media Operations Major General Edward Buba said troops of Operation Udoka in the southeast region of Nigeria arrested one Pius Igu, a founding father of the Eastern Security Network, a group known for terrorizing residents in the region. Let's now join Clearview's defense correspondent Gloria Atta for details.
It is no news that Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, has been battling the challenge of insecurity, which has swept through all regions of the country for over a decade, leading to loss of lives, breakdown of law and order, and also negatively affecting the economy as well as the quality of livelihood of citizens. In recent times, the southeast region of Nigeria has particularly been an area of major concern for many, considering the growing insurgency occasioned by the activities of the indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB), a secessionist group, and its militant arm, the Eastern Security Network (ESN), which have led to attacks on security operatives, government and private-owned infrastructure, and the lives and properties of people in the region. At the Defense Headquarters bi-weekly press conference, Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, said the recent sting operations of the military in the southeast have yielded significant results with the killing of high-profile IPOB terrorists and the arrest of their leaders.
The troops of Operation Udoka, Forward Operational Base Osu, in a sting operation, apprehended a terrorist leader belonging to the indigenous people of Biafra and the Eastern Security Network terrorist group, known as Mr. Pius Igu. He is an indigenous people of Biafra terrorist founding father responsible for Osu General Area in Imo State. Also in a separate development, troops of Forward Operational Base Amaruku conducted a raid on an indigenous people of Biafra terrorist group commander's location. The raid was successful and led to the arrest of the commander, identified as Emmanuel Onwugu, in Imbanu, local government area of Abia State. Also in another development, the troops of Operation Udoka conducted a combined operation with security forces that led to the arrest of a notorious cult leader named Ifeanyi Rock and 10 of his combatants in Arochukwu local government area of Abia State.
He added that counter-terrorism operations across other regions of the country in the last 1 week led to the killing of 140 criminals and arrest of 135 others.
The troops also rescued 76 kidnapped hostages, which is indicative of our commitment to guarantee the safety and security of citizens, which we will continue to do more of that. In the war against crude oil theft, as well as our effort to boost the nation's daily crude oil production, troops arrested 18 perpetrators of crude oil theft during the week. Furthermore, troops diminished the terrorist capabilities by recovering over 240 assorted weapons and over 3,000 assorted ammunition across all theaters of operations during the week.
The defense spokesman added that following a recent directive by the president, the clampdown on the activities of oil theft in the South-South zone has led to an increase in the daily crude oil production in the country, with troops denying oil thieves of an estimated sum of 1,751,886,550 naira in just 1 week. Gloria Atta, reporting for Clearview News.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) Federal Capital Territory Command has arrested 9 suspects for vandalizing critical national assets and infrastructure. The suspects were apprehended on October 22, 2024 during a routine patrol in different parts of Abuja. Clevis' correspondent was at the press briefing and tells us more. Speaking to members of the press, FCT NSCDC Commandant Olushola Odumosu said 4 of the suspects were caught in the act of vandalism, while 5 other suspects were apprehended at the Panteka market in Jabi, Abuja, for buying vandalized items. The command also recovered various exhibits from the suspects, including melted bags of armored cables wires, vandalized irons, a 75 amps battery, scaffolding clips and bolts, copper wires, solar panel cables, and armored cables.
I hereby present to you a total number of 9 suspects, 4 of whom are vandals of critical national asset and infrastructure, while the other 5 suspects are the illicit buyers. One of the suspects, Abdullah Sani, male, 24 years of age, from Kukawa local government area of Borno State, was arrested early hours of Tuesday, 22nd of October, 2024, by the command operative while on routine night patrol. He was caught in the act of dismantling and vandalizing streetlight hammered cables around Yoruba Mosque in Utako, Abuja, here. Further investigation, therefore, led to the arrest of 5 others who are the receivers of and buyers of the vandalized critical national asset and infrastructure items at the Panteka market, Jabi, Abuja. The exhibits recovered from the 4 suspects include 1 plier and street lights hammered cables. The second suspect, Ishaku Toma, male, 32 years of age, was arrested in the act of vandalizing a bridge pavement along Kado Galadimawa Road, Idu Industrial Area, by using a heavy rock to break the bridge pavement with the intention to extract and steal the reinforcing iron rod. The third suspect, Abibu Hem, is a male, 22 years of age. He was arrested at about 3:40 hours on Tuesday, 22nd of October, around Mabuchi Bridge, while vigorously digging the ground to unearth and steal the streetlight armored cables around the bridge. The fourth suspect, by name Daniel Peter, is male, 24 years, was also arrested on Tuesday as well at the Public Service Institute, Kuba Expressway, while vandalizing hammered cable within the premises. Items recovered include streetlight hammered cables and pliers. At about 1:30 a.m., our patrol team also intercepted some vandals in the process of vandalizing telecommunication masts at the Package B area of the Moshood Abiola Stadium here in Abuja. Although the vandals, upon sighting our men, took to their heels, but in the process, they left behind their items, which they have already dismantled. And this includes 2 base transceiver station cabinets and 7 other base transceiver station BTS cabinets. So we have these items here, and these are the ways these vandals, criminals, that is how they destroy public utilities and make life difficult for residents and Nigerians as a whole.
Odumosu stated that the arrest was made possible by the command's renewed strategy and operational efficiency. He emphasized that vandalizing public infrastructure affects every resident of the FCT and disrupts essential services. Odumosu warned the culprits that acts of vandalism and other forms of criminality will not be tolerated within his jurisdiction. He also urged residents to remain vigilant and report suspicious activities to the Corps, adding that the NSCDC FCT command remains committed to protecting public infrastructure and maintaining peace and security within the territory. Meanwhile, investigations are ongoing to unravel the kingpins behind the activities of these vandals, and their buyers, and those found culpable will be arrested, charged and prosecuted accordingly. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has raided and shut down the Place restaurant in Wuse 2, Abuja, following a tip-off and customer complaints about the restaurant's unhygienic conditions. The agency's swift action was prompted by a customer's report of the restaurant's unhealthy sanitary conditions, which include rat infestation and poor food handling practices. Clevis correspondent who was there tells us more. Upon investigation, NAFDAC officials discovered the appalling unhygienic condition of the restaurant. The stores were found to be infested with rats, while the cold room temperature did not meet the required standard, as well as poor food handling among other unhealthy practices. The customer complaint sparked NAFDAC's swift response, with the Director General, Professor Mojisola Adiaye, reinstated the agency's commitment to customer complaints, adding the agency will continue to protect public health and safety.
They store vegetable oil outside. You can see the water. You go around right down, you see vegetable oil, water, outside. If you open, we are going to evacuate all the contaminated products that are not fit for consumption, so that cannot be used in the production process for the safety of the citizens of Nigeria. You can see these eggs for public consumption are supposed to be stored at minimum 4 degrees centigrade. This place is at room temperature, which is usually 27 degrees centigrade. So eggs for commercial consumption are not supposed to be stored at 27 degrees centigrade, but minimum 4 degrees centigrade.
As a result, the restaurant's operating license has been revoked, while the management was ordered to rectify the issue before reopening. The agency wants food establishments to maintain strict hygienic standards and adherence to regulations to ensure customer safety. Meanwhile, it is conducting further investigation to determine the extent of the unhygienic practices and potential health risks. NAFDAC further encourages the public to report any suspicious or unhygienic practices in food establishments. The agency's action serves as a warning to all food establishments to prioritize customer safety and maintain high standards of hygiene. The recent calls for the scrapping of the EFCC have continued to gain momentum as 16 state governors filed a suit at the Supreme Court challenging the legality of the establishment of the country's anti-graft agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Against this backdrop, the Director of Public Affairs in the EFCC, Wilson, had alleged that the push for the scrapping of the agency came as a result of the governor's claim of being at the receiving end of the unpleasant effects of the anti-graft agency's activity. In this special report, Clevis Imefonokon sought opinions on the issue: if Nigeria can survive without the EFCC.
The calls for the scrapping of the EFCC has continued to trigger debate among stakeholders, as 16 governors across the country are seeking the scrapping of the anti-graft agency. The state governors had filed a suit challenging the legality of the laws establishing the agency, relying on the fact that the Constitution is the supreme law and that any law that is inconsistent with it is null and void. However, the agency had accused the governors of trying to derail the EFCC's efforts at combating corruption, which has continued to become a huge issue of concern in Nigeria. The question is, can Nigeria survive without EFCC?
You cannot tell me one man will have almost 100 billion for what? And people are suffering. And you want to scrap the people who can fight for that? That's not normal. You understand that? That's not normal. Any person who brought such advice should be bring to custody. You know, they have to cross-check the person. But okay, what do you want to bring now to check? Is it police? Is it army? No, now these people, that is their job.
Before EFCC was brought on board, at least Nigeria has been surviving. They already brought EFCC so that they can, you know, scrap corruption, you know, control, you know, activities of money laundering and thereabouts. So, to my own point of view, with EFCC, without EFCC, already there's corruption in Nigeria.
Nigeria will survive because EFCC, they are not doing their work. Because they are cause of all some things that are happening in Nigeria. You understand? Because if EFCC, they are doing their work properly, some governors have to be arrested and be jailed.
And look, actually, EFCC is in fact, we have lost hope in them. Ever since they have been acting in this operation, we have not seen substantial evidence of their actions. That's what the governors are calling. We write a petition to them. Ordinary man, we don't see answer. And all the money that they are recovering, nobody knows what they are doing with the money.
Before 2004, or whereabout when they created the EFCC, Nigeria has been surviving. In fact, the corruption was not alarming like what we are having today. So the issue is not to scrap it, it's to reform it. What makes them not to work well, and to also re-engineer the minds of Nigerians towards better quality of life. Let us leave greed and selfishness and do what is right.
EFCC, you know, putting high on EFCC right now, is that the problem of Nigeria? No. So EFCC are doing their best. They're doing their work, and we have the good ones in EFCC. So I don't think it's a point.
If you see the advanced country, most of them, they have this kind of agencies. Even the agencies that are even more powerful than this EFCC, and they are still doing their work. But the government to say they should subscribe EFCC, it can bring the solution of where we are facing either corruption, other government. It can be, it's not the problem.
Meanwhile, some Nigerians who accused governors of masterminding corruption in Nigeria said their recent push for the scrapping of the EFCC is for their selfish interest.
Of course, if the governors, EFCC was not after them, they would have not been raising eyebrows. A lot of things are happening in the state. Nobody can challenge them. They are behaving like they are untouchable. The only EFCC is going there. But the only point was the ESP, their actions are not transparent. If not, governors have no moral integrity to say this is scrap EFCC, because they are not doing the best.
Because then they know they are cheating us. That is why they don't want anything interference of EFCC.
It's because of their own personal interests. There's nothing bad in the FCC if they are doing their work properly.
How would they like? Because they don't want to. They want to continue their stealing.
The reason some of them are calling for this, you know, if money leave federation account to the state now owns the money. But EFCC is a federal agency, except if they decentralize it, whereby each state will have their own such kind of thing. I know of Kano, we have such an anti-corruption agency, so that the money collected within the state, those who looted the state treasury, when the agencies collect the money from there, should return back to the state, not to the federal government again.
So to me, in my opinion, scrapping EFCC is not the solution. Enhance them, equip them, and make sure that rule of law works on anybody.
The states joined in the suit filed originally by the Kogi state government include Ondo, Edo, Oyo, Ogun, Nasarawa, Kebbi, Katsina, Sokoto, Jigawa, Enugu, Benue, Anambra, Plateau, Cross River, and Niger State. Imefono Okon, reporting for Clever News.
If you're just joining us, you're watching the news on Clever News Desk. We will be back after this break. Stay with us.
We break the news.
This is Christ Embassy.
Recollect, we were the first to break this. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of Kano State has approved the appointment of 3 second-class emirs. And this?
Erasmus is the most successful program of the European Union to support education and youth.
And this?
Fubara is not an ungrateful person.
And more.
Tension is currently mounting in Rivers State.
The planned arraignment of Yaya Bello.
Across our platforms. Subscribe now and you will be receiving our notifications and never left out as the news breaks on Clearview.
Welcome back. The Super Eagles of Nigeria has moved up by 3 spots to 36th place in the October World FIFA ranking. The world ranking table on the website of the World Football Governing Body on Thursday reveals that Nigeria garnered 1503.29 points within the period under review. Recall that the senior men's national team defeated their Libyan counterparts in the first leg of the match of the African Cup of Nations qualifiers by a lone goal on October 11 in Uyo. The movement also reflected positively on the team's continental position to be ranked 4th behind Morocco, Senegal and Egypt, instead of the 6th spot they occupied in September. On the global scene, 32 qualifiers for the FIFA World Cup 2026, 47 for the CAF African Cup of Nations 2025, 79 Nations League matches and 17 friendlies were played during the recent international window. This made October a particularly busy month of football and one that has led to some changes in the FIFA Coca-Cola's men's world ranking. We say a big congratulations to the Super Eagles for that feat, and we hope for better days ahead. A non-identified white man was sighted this Thursday distributing loaves of bread to hundreds of Lagosians who queued for the free staple, highlighting the extent to which citizens were battered by hunger amid the nation's worst cost of living crisis. He handed out loaves to people standing in orderly queues. A beneficiary of the man's benevolence at 48th Street Ajao Estate in Lagos, who did not disclose her last name, Mary, said that the white man who had earlier in the day shared Bibles to interested individuals prior to giving out the bread brought the loaves from exclusive bakery also in Ajao Estate. However, when approached for comments, the bakery did not disclose the total cost of loaves the white man had purchased but confirmed that hundreds of Lagosians benefited from his goodwill. And that's the news, but before we go, a recap of the top stories. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has raided and shut down the Place restaurant in Wuse 2, Abuja, following a tip-off and customer complaints about the restaurant's unhygienic conditions. Activist Aisha Yusuf has slammed members of the National Assembly for constituting a panel to investigate the bribery allegations leveled against cross-dresser Bob Risky. The Super Eagles of Nigeria has moved up by 3 spots to 36th place in the October World FIFA ranking table, revealed on the website of the World Football Governing Body this Thursday. You can follow up on latest events and happenings around you via social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube at Clearview News Dex, or via our handle on X, formerly known as Twitter at Clearview Online. Many thanks for watching. I am Florence Joshua. Bye for now.